What's up, guys? It's the one and only African superstar back at it again with another walking vlog. I want to remind you guys that we're offering tours here in Ghana. Yes. So if you've been waiting to check out the Black Star of Africa, allow me to help you with that process. We also have our group tour with Mr. Taye Uhuru, October 19th through the 26th. And last but not least, please add African Superstar to your music playlist. You can find my entire musical catalog at bandcamp.com, as well as official music videos here on YouTube. All right, guys. So if you remember, last week I came this way during Independence Day and the street was completely bare. So you can see the difference that the businesses are in session. Today I want to talk about, in the midst of the chaos, do not lose yourself and do not lose sight of your goals. Shout out to the African Superstar family, the one and only best family here on social media. Today I want to talk about not losing yourself. Obviously, in this world of social media, there's so much information and there's so many people pulling you this way, pulling you that way. You know, come to Africa, stay in America. It's not true. It's true. It's this, it's that. And a lot of times this overload of information becomes very overwhelming. And that's why I really want to promote you guys to not lose yourself in the process. Because what will happen oftentimes is when you are in solitude is when you make your decisions, okay? You sit there, you look at all the information, you look at how things are working, how they're not working, and you come to this conclusion. If you're here on my channel, I know, unless you're part of those pretending, misguided, internal battle people, for the vast majority of those of you here, you guys love Africa. You're curious about it. You want to travel here. You're looking for information that's going to help you access the continent, okay? And in solitude, you came to that consensus. You made that decision and you thought to yourself, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it's not until those other voices come in that you start to develop a lot of confusion. And you start to question if that decision is the right decision. And that's why I want to tell you, sometimes you have to pull back. Sometimes you just need to be on your own. Sometimes you need to keep your plans or your outlook private, because the more you express it, the more those dissenting views are going to come in, the more confusing it is. If ever you get on this journey and you decide, you start questioning it. And then I would direct this more to those of us that have already started making our journey or residing here on the continent. You start encountering various things and you start wondering if you've made the right decision. I encourage you to recall the reasons why you did it in the first place. Going back to the root always provides answers. I firmly believe that. That's why I'm here living on the continent, because I believe that coming back to the root provides answers. In my case, it has. In your case, it might. And so at the end of the day, you need to be very strong. You need to be very grounded. You need to be unapologetic about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and not be influenced hither, thither, or thither. If you've made that decision, like I said, solitude, whatever that means, and you were very confident in the decision you made when you were alone with yourself, then that's probably the path that you need to take. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. I want to share another story before I wrap up this vlog. So recently I was talking to a family member, and this family member had recently been at the hospital. Okay. And when they went to the hospital, this doctor recommended that they do this procedure. Well, when I was talking to the family member, they told me they were getting a bad sense about the whole thing. They didn't feel comfortable. Something was just telling them, I don't want to do this. Right. And, I just spoke to them yesterday and they confided in me, I've decided against doing the procedure because I just am getting this sense. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of do not lose yourself. A lot of times we see the red flags, we get omens, we get communications. Some people say we get confirmations about various things and we override it. And overriding it a lot of times has not worked out well for us if we're honest. And so if you keep finding yourself drawn to my particular content, okay, you're one of two people. You've already accepted a call and now you're trying to work out how you're going to make it a reality. Or you're fighting an internal battle because your mind is telling you something. Your heart is telling you something. Society's telling you something else. Your friends are telling you something else. Social media is telling you something else, and you are battling that. Okay? So do not lose yourself in this battle. All right? You must always return to the root causes as to why you are on the path that you are taking. You made a decision in solitude when nobody else was there to weigh in. You looked at your options and you came up with a conclusion. Do not be swayed by anyone. Shout out to the African Superstar family. Guys, this concludes this vlog. You guys can see that the billboard has been removed and power has been restored. Hope is again. Hello. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.